Hey, it's Bill, NB from F650.com. One of the things I said I would do is go through my tools that I carry with me on my bike, kind of general field tools. If things go wrong out on the side of the road, the tools that I use to help fix the bike, help get me back home. I'm going to go through all of them with you today. I'd like to thank Chuck. He's going to be our cameraman filming all this. And so let's get started. If you ride a BMW GS, the small little 650 GS, if you ride the single spark model, you probably got a toolkit. If you ride a dual spark model, you probably get a toolkit as well, but there's a difference, and let me show you. This is the toolkit out of my bike. I ride a 2001. In my toolkit is a T25, a T30, a T40, and a T45 wrenches. Not real convenient to use, but at least they're there. You get an 8 and a 10, 19, 14, 24 millimeter wrenches, and you get this little tool, which is actually quite convenient to give you a little leverage on the 24 millimeter wrench to get the rear axle off. You get this bar. Damned if I know what that's for. Apparently it goes in here. This fits inside your oil cap and you can tighten and loosen this. I've never used it. You get a screwdriver, flathead on one end, Phillips head on the other. You get this little screwdriver. Now if you've got one of these newer dual spark models, you don't get all this. All you get is a T25. You get a 15 millimeter wrench, a 14 millimeter wrench. You get this thing and you get these two screwdrivers. That's it. So you can't even take off your front and rear tires, and in reality, if you have this kit, you can't take off your front tire because you need an 8 millimeter Allen to take off your front tire, and you don't have it. First thing we got here is I got this from Northern Tool for 14 bucks, and you can see that it's a toolkit. It goes from 10 millimeter all the way up to 19 millimeter. It's got these little stubby wrenches in it, so here's a 10 closed in, boxed in wrench, and you can see that again the 19's a little stubby wrench. Doesn't take up much room. Comes in this tool roll, can be folded up, pretty small. You can tie this around it, etc. It'll be just fine. Now one of the things you can do is if you got this 10 and this 11, maybe you don't want to carry a 10 and 11. You can get some Craftsman tools like this. You can see it's got a 10 on one end, it's got an 11 on the other. That's great, but the only problem with that is if, say for example, you need an 11 to take a bleeder off or to take a bleeder off of your brake. Well, if the bleeder's in there tight, this may strip out, whereas if you have a closed-in wrench, you can put that in there and you're more apt to get that bleeder off. So I just carry this toolkit. I also carry this neat little gadget that I found. This is a little mini ratchet, if you will. It's pretty small, as you can see, and this is to loosen. You push this through, that's to tighten. With that, I also carry an extension. I'll show you why whenever we get to it. And I also carry a swivel. This fits all of these sockets here, and I'll tell you what each of these sockets is in a second. Now another option, if you want to carry something even smaller, I know a lot of you guys have seen this kit from Craftsman where you get this ratchet and you get you know, a 7, 8, 9 all the way up to 13 millimeter, and you also get a few deep well sockets. Well, what you could do is if you wanted to carry say a 10 and a 13, those are pretty common on the bike, you could carry these two, which are 1/4 inch drive, and then you could get very similar to the one that I showed you earlier. You could carry this tool instead, and again carry an extension. This will fit in here. It takes up hardly any room. Again, this will help you take things off the bike. Actually, one of the main things that I really like is this Craftsman screwdriver. It's a ratcheting screwdriver. You can lock it so that it turns. You can turn it this way, that tightens, turn it the other way, it loosens. Very convenient. The thing I like about this is it's got a compartment in the back so that I can store several bits. Most common bits that you're going to have on the bike is a T20 Torx. I'll show you where all this, like I said, I'll show you where all this goes in a minute. A T25 and a T30, 5 millimeter Allen, 6 millimeter Allen, and a Phillips head screwdriver. And as you can see, you can turn this, and then each one of these tools will fit inside of this, which makes it very convenient. So you get a ratcheting screwdriver that's quite convenient to put all of your tools in, and doesn't take up a whole lot of room. That's one of the things that we're trying to do here, is minimize the amount of room we're taking up. Another thing I carry, sometimes I can't get, maybe I'm tightening up something on the engine, I need a T30. Well, I carry this in a 3/8 drive. Here's a T30 that I use, a T40 and a T45. Again, I'll show you where those go in a second. Here's a 5 millimeter Allen, 6 millimeter Allen, and an 8 millimeter Allen, all 3/8 drive with a swivel socket. I also carry a 13 millimeter and a 10 millimeter socket. I carry an 18 millimeter spark plug socket in case I need to change a spark plug. I don't carry that all the time though. I carry that whenever I go on longer trips. A couple of other smaller things that are convenient to have is a pair of vice grips, a little pair of vice grips. I've got a little pair of needle nose pliers, a little pair of wire clippers, etc. These are really good for clipping zip ties off. And then I carry this adjustable wrench. Now the thing I like about this little stubby wrench is that it opens up, even though it's a very small wrench, it opens up over an inch, which is actually, over 24 millimeters. So the worst case scenario, I could use this to get the axle off the back of my bike. But again, I'd rather use, to take the axle off, this tool. This is a specialty tool. It's a tire iron, but it's also 24 millimeter wrench. It's very lightweight. It's Motion Pro tool, I think. Actually, I don't know where the hell I got it, but it's got MP on it, so I'll assume that's a Motion Pro. Fits perfectly on the bike to take the rear axle off. Little screwdriver like this that's got several different bits similar to this, and that they're stored in the container. Multimeter, very good. This one's quite small. I got it from Radio Shack. You can see it folds up. I think that sums up all the tools. I want to talk to you about some of the other stuff that I carry. I carry electrical tape for obvious reasons, because there's a lot of times you need to electrical tape stuff, and everyone says, well, you should carry duct tape as well. Well, yeah, I carry duct tape, but I carry clear duct tape. Now you're looking at this and you're saying, damn, that's a lot to carry on the bike. Why would you do that? Well, Chuck, who's filming for us today, walked over here and said, hey man, I see you got a crack pipe. Well, no, this isn't a crack pipe. What this is a pencil. What you do is you take your electrical tape, and what I do is I basically just, as tall as I am, I stretch out enough and then I roll it onto the pencil. So here's my electrical tape, here's my duct tape. So the length of duct tape and electrical tape on this is about as tall as I am. That'll be about 6'3", or close to it. So I roll that onto here, and there you go. There's my electrical tape and duct tape. Doesn't take up much room as having a full roll like this. One of the people on the board said a first aid kit. Absolutely, that's one of the most important things you should have. I have this little white box that I got from the drugstore for like $5, but then I shoved all of my own stuff in it in addition to what it came with. So there's some medicine, there's some pads, there's some little strips in case, there's little butterfly strips, etc. So I've got this thing crammed full of first aid gear. So yes, a first aid kit, however much you want to carry, but that's very important. Let's go back over here to all these spares. A lot of this stuff is stuff that is broken before on the bike, and I've just kind of, if I have to order it, I order two. For example, this clutch fork. This thing's made of pot aluminum, and it breaks pretty easily. Obviously, there's one on my bike now, but I carry a spare with me. So if it breaks, I have a spare. It's small, doesn't take up much room. Very similarly, you see I've got two of these. These are the little clamp bolts for the mirrors, because I'm always, every time I fall, which is a lot, I snap a mirror off. These will allow me to put a mirror back on, because they usually break right there. So I've got two of those that I carry with me. This is off of an old chain. It's just a master link. In case anything happens, I've got some spare O-rings, and I've got a spare master link. Now you see I don't have a clip on there. The reason why is I keep my clips on my keychain. Here's my official Chain Gang key ring, but I keep two master clips. Every time I replace a chain, I just use these, I save these old clips. What else will work in a pinch if you don't have a spare clip and yours falls off, you can take a paper clip and wind it around there as well, but it's easy just to have some clips. The rest of it's just various, these are panel screws, these always fall off the bike, just different bolts. This is a subframe bolt. I carry a couple of these, I've only got one laid out, but subframe bolts can shear from time to time, so I carry some of those as well, and just other random bits that I've thrown into my tool bag. I carry a few rubber gloves with me in case I'm going to get into some nasty grease or whatever, maybe it's something on the chain. I just carry a pair of rubber gloves to make it easy, so when I put my riding gear back on, I don't get grease all over it. I don't think you could ever carry enough zip ties. I just have several of them that I carry. There's a few smaller ones there. These are really common to break. These are your clutch lever and your brake lever. These just snap in half all the time. I usually carry, if I'm going on a long trip, I carry two of each. Short trip, I just keep one of each in the bag at all times. Flashlight, obviously something that you need if you get, happen to get stuck at night. Some other things I've got is this little Airman air compressor. It's pretty small, does a good job, plugs into a cigarette lighter that I have on the bike, quite convenient. Pocket knife. I got several pocket knives on the bike, but this one is the one that I've got. It's a little Spyderco serrated knife, cuts just about anything. Great knife. Everyone says, well, carry a water pump kit. Carry a water pump kit. Well, there you go. There's my water pump kit. This is something you do not want to have to change on the side of the road, but if you do, I carry one with me.